Welcome everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And as always, we're going to be digging into the topics that keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, have a seat, get ready, kick your feet up, get ready to join the conversation. Right here on the Social Dig, let me go ahead and say what's up to everybody. Just come on out here and join us here tonight for another late night call-in show where we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to have some fun tonight. Let me go ahead and say what's up to everybody out there. Make sure my mic is up right. Okay, there we go. All right, Stargazer, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing up. Kitty Catty Whack, thanks for coming on in as well. Let me get to the top of the list here. Lil Cat 51 is in the building saying present. David Dornberg, I see you out there. Thanks for coming on in. Thanks for showing up to the late night calling show. Polly Rotterman, thanks for coming in. Scott Rosen as well. Appreciate you showing up. Blue Riders, DG. Emperor Penguin in the building. Marie Garment, thanks for coming on in. Let's see. Hillbilly Herb, save my seat, hearing outside for some air. Okay, that's what's up. Mel WD40, lubing everybody up. You're lubing everybody up. Appreciate you coming on in to the show here tonight. Once again, also Stargazer, thanks for showing on up here to the show. Who else do we have out here? I know we got Cosmic Joe Chronicles. We got Seymour Glass in the building. Thanks for coming on in. We have Tartar Sauce saying present. Yes, it's going to be an awesome show, guys. Let me make sure we jump on into some of the pertinence. The Social Dig. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and look at the phone number. The phone number, put it in your phone, 856-843-3444. That's 856-THE-DIGG if you're outside the United States. That's 001 first, then 856-843-3444 or 001-856-THE-DIGG. Won't be using the actual phone number tonight for live calls. However, the phone number is open 24/7, so you can call, leave a message. You can text me. You can send me images. You can say hello. It's just a nice thing to do. Consider that as we jump into the show. Also, want to go ahead and welcome and thank our members who make sure that this show does what it does and continues to go on. The memberships are available. You can become a social soldier today. We also set up a Discord, which I forgot to put in here. We'll make sure to put the Discord link as well. The Social Dig has a social Discord. But let me say what's up to our members we have out there. T-Bone, the Beekeeper, D. Nunley, Maggie M10, Flat 6, Miss Catherine Jones, Leanne Bridges, Polly Rotterman, Lil Cam 51, Fast Hemi, Deb from Sacramento, Race Fan with the Gold Magneticus Attractus, Woo Riders DG, Area 51, Tamothman, Crave Dog, Paramarv, Joe Monk, Rockin' Rory, KAS, Wes Decker, and Joanne, Emperor Penguin, Deadfish Cheese Spread, Amanda's Crazy Life Channel, Mike Bothwell, Kitty Catty Whack, and Izzy Beth. Thank you guys so much for helping us do what we do, making sure we can pay these bills and keep these services going to put on these shows as we continue to raise the bar right here on the Social Dig. We're going to have an awesome show. So, how are you guys doing out there tonight? Hopefully you're doing well. It's a Friday night, right? End of the work week for a lot of people, depending on where you're at in the world. Could already be Saturday in some places, as we know. But we're gonna talk about something that I really haven't really talked about. And this is, not just Skinny Bob as it shows on the thumbnail. We will be definitely talking about Skinny Bob, but just also maybe just other instances of alien contact out there. They have the alien interview video, which is, I don't know what you guys think about that video. Sure, we'll get into a lot of that here tonight. Different part of the elephant. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you showing on up. And let's see. Okay. All right. So, Skinny Bob, Skinny Bobbert, Skinny Rob, Skinny Roberts, right? That's my guy. Deb from Sacramento would normally be here. She claims to have Skinny Bob at her house, but maybe she'll show up. Maybe not. We'll end up seeing, maybe get a phone call from Skinny Bob or get him to jump online here. But all BS aside, just getting into the show, I do have a story I wanted to go over here, right? So you have the interstellar object that has been reported in the news recently, the last few weeks. It should be passing Earth at some point, I believe, right around October is when it gets closest to Earth. We should be able to see what this thing is, but they definitely say it's about 12 miles long from what I hear, and that it is coming from outside of our solar system. And last time that happened, or on a major scale, something that was pretty big, unexplainable, was Oumuamua. If you remember back in 2019, I want to say, I think it was 2019, Oumuamua kind of showed up on the scene, came from somewhere else. Avi Loeb really thinks potentially that what Oumuamua was extraterrestrial craft. We didn't get to see it or take any notes or measurements of it because it was already on its way out. This one we get to kind of capture, observe while it passes through, and maybe see what it is. And it depends on those who can see it if they're going to be straightforward and forthcoming, right, with the information. If they zoom in on this thing and they see it's an obvious huge UFO, do you think they're really going to say anything about that? Probably not. So hopefully we have some amateur astronomers out there that are able to catch that, because that would be awesome just to see what it is, right? It's coming from somewhere else. It may just be a rock, a huge rock just coming from outside solar system. We're okay with that, but we would like to see what it is. Let me go ahead and read. Avi Loeb has actually released a little write up on this here within the last couple of days. So I thought it'd be awesome to see what Avi Loeb's take is on this before we jump into the Skinny Bob stuff. So it shows, and this is written aviloeb.medium.com is where you can find this article. It says, is the interstellar object 3I Atlas alien technology, by Avi Loeb. Today, I co authored an intriguing new paper with the brilliant collaborators Adam Hibbert and Adam Crowell from the Initiative for Interstellar Studies in London, UK. The paper is accessible here. One of the solutions to Enrico Fermi's question about extraterrestrials, quote, where is everybody, is offered by the dark forest hypothesis, popularized by Cixin Liu's science fiction novel, The Dark Forest. This hypothesis proposes that our cosmic neighborhood is dangerous, filled with intelligent civilizations that are hostile and silent to avoid detection by potential predators. In this context, the silence in searches for radio signals by the SETI community is not caused by the lack of extraterrestrial intelligent civilizations, but is instead a consequence of them fearing mutual destruction. Our paper explores the possibility that the recently discovered interstellar object 3I Atlas may provide evidence in support of the dark forest hypothesis. This new interstellar interloper has displayed a number of anomalous characteristics, some of which were summarized in an essay that I wrote shortly after its discovery. In particular, number one, the retrograde orbital plane, defined by the orbital angular movement vector of 3I Atlas around the Sun, lies within 5 degrees of that of Earth, the so called ecliptic plane. The likelihood for that coincidence out of all random orientations is 0.2%. Number two, as I showed in a recent paper, the brightness of 3I Atlas implies an object that is 20 kilometers in diameter for a typical albedo of less 5%, too large for an interstellar asteroid. Okay. We should have detected a million objects below the 100-meter scale of the first reported interstellar object, Oumuamua, for each 20-kilometer object. Number three, no spectral features of cometary gas are found in the spectroscopic observations of 3I Atlas. The detected reddening of reflected sunlight could originate from the surface of the object. Related data can be found here, which he gives links in the article. The fuzz observed around 3I Atlas, seen in images, I don't know if we could bring these up here. I'll try to bring them up, is inconclusive given the motion of the object and the inevitable smearing of its image over the exposure of time. For its orbital parameters, 3I Atlas is synchronized to approach unusually close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter with a cumulative probability of 0.005% relative to orbits with the same orbital parameters but a random arrival time. 3I Atlas achieves perihelion on the opposite side of the sun relative to Earth, and the word is Perihelion. So perihelion. 3I Atlas achieves perihelion on the opposite side of the sun relative to Earth. This could be intentional to avoid detailed observations from Earth-based telescopes when the object is brightest or when gadgets are sent to Earth from that hidden vantage point. The retrograde trajectory at the perihelion speed of 68 kilometers per second, opposite to the direction of the motion of the Earth around the sun at 30 kilometers per second, makes the velocity difference between Earth and 3I Atlas 98 kilometers per second. It is therefore impractical for Earthlings to land on 3I Atlas at closest approach by boarding chemical rockets, since our best rockets reach at most a third of that speed. Number 6, the optimal point for a reverse solar Oberth maneuver to become bound to the sun is at perihelion. In the Oberth maneuver, the thrust of a spacecraft is applied at its maximum orbital speed, namely at periapsis, so as to maximize the resulting change in kinetic energy. This applies both to accelerating to achieve solar system escape, or alternatively to slow down from a high speed, a reverse Oberth maneuver, in order to brake, stay bound to the sun, and potentially visit a planet like Earth. This is optimal breaking point for 3I Atlas that is obscured from our view by the sun. Number 7, the direction from where 3I Atlas is coming is oriented towards the bright Milky Way center, where crowding by background stars made its detection difficult prior to July of 2025. Figures 1 and 2 in our papers show that if astronomers were to detect 3I Atlas more than a year earlier, then we would have had an opportunity to launch a spacecraft that could have intercepted 3I Atlas along its path. By now, such an interception is not feasible with chemical rockets. It's time to break out the Tic Tacs then, right? We have those, right? So let's see. Number 8, the velocity thrust needed for launches of gadgets out of 3I Atlas to intercept Venus, Mars, or Jupiter are smaller than 5 kilometers per second, achievable by intercontinental ballistic missiles. The near alignment of the retrograde trajectory of 3I Atlas with the ecliptic plane offers various benefits to an extraterrestrial intelligence, since it allows a spacecraft to access Earth with relative impunity. The eclipse of 3I Atlas by the sun at perihelion for observers on Earth would allow a spacecraft to conduct a clandestine reverse solar Oberth maneuver, an optimal high thrust strategy for interstellar spacecraft to brake and stay bound to the sun. An optimal intercept of Earth would entail an arrival in late November or early December of 2025. Detection of a non-gravitational acceleration could also indicate an intent to intercept Jupiter, not far off the path of 3I Atlas, and a strategy to rendezvous with it after perihelion. Our paper is contingent on a remarkable but testable hypothesis that 3I Atlas is a functioning technological artifact to which I and my 2 co-authors do not necessarily ascribe. Yet, this hypothesis is worthy of a scientific analysis for two reasons. Number one, the consequences, should be the hypothesis turn out to be correct, could potentially be dire for humanity. It would possibly require defensive measures to be undertaken, though these might prove futile. Okay. Number two, the hypothesis is an interesting exercise in its own right and is fun to explore, irrespective of its likely validity. Given its interstellar speed of 60 kilometers per second, 3I Atlas entered the outer boundary of the solar system at 100,000 times the Earth Sun separation about 8,000 years ago. This was roughly when human made technologies became advanced enough to start documenting history on Earth. If the hypothesis about a technological artifact ends up being correct, then there are two possible implications. First, that the intentions of 3-1 Atlas are entirely benign, and a second, that they are malign. In the first case, humanity need not do anything but await the arrival of this interstellar messenger with open arms. It is the second option which is of great concern. Given the dramatic implications of the second possibility, we can apply the logic of Pascal's wager that suggested it is more rational to believe in God's existence than not. The insight offered by the mathematician Blaise Pascal was the first potential benefits of believing, in our case, alerting humanity to the existential risk from 3-1 Atlas, far outweigh the potential losses in our case. A theoretical idea that does not describe reality, while the potential losses of not believing are far greater than the potential benefits. That's deep. Our paper is largely a a pedagogical exercise with interesting realizations worthy of a record in scientific literature. By far, the most likely outcome will be that 3I Atlas is a completely natural interstellar object, probably a comet, and we await the astronomical data to support this likely origin. Nevertheless, when viewed from an open minded and unprejudiced perspective, our paper includes that many compelling insights that could be applied to tens of interstellar objects that are expected to be detected over the next decade by the Vera C. Rubin Observatory. The existential risk from alien intelligence, external AI, is not discussed as often as other existential risks like artificial intelligence, our AI. In a dark forest, uncertainties about one's relative strength may argue for hiding as much survival mechanism, especially if a civilization was bruised in the past. In addition, dominance could be time dependent, as there might always be some rising young technological civilization that becomes powerful quickly, requiring reconnaissance missions on trajectories similar to that of 3I Atlas. Oh, they're checking in on us. Okay, okay. We might soon realize that the extension of natural selection to interstellar space involves survival of the fittest. In a recent essay, I provided a menu of methods for distinguishing an extraterrestrial spacecraft from an interstellar rock. Here's hoping that this menu will be used by other astronomers. Ignoring the technological option is not a sign of intelligence. Avi Loeb. Wow. That was heavy right there. So, laying out all the options. So it's too late for us to launch something and kind of meet up with it and intercept it, is what he's saying. But he's also saying that, hey, yeah, this could just be an interstellar rock passing through. It could just be an interstellar comet. And if that's what it is, and we'll enjoy it and capture data on it as it passes by. But he's also stating that, hey, what if it is something that is intelligently being controlled coming into our solar system on a trajectory to intercept Earth, to potentially check and see where we're at as far as advancements go. Wow. And maybe that's what they're doing all the time. All these objects that come in, maybe they're all well, likely they are, unless they live in our solar system, right? They're coming from somewhere else. They're interstellar objects that are rendezvousing with Earth to kind of check in or for other nefarious reasons. Yeah, we probably should still be open to the idea of, there being something there. Because for whatever reason, he felt really strongly about Oumuamua. It was already gone. All we could do is really speculate. This one, he's throwing the same theory at it, but giving us a chance to say, hey, we can be prepared just in case, in the fall of this year or the end of this year, that this ends up being something that is intelligently controlled. And he says that, by certain, we'll be able to notice this by certain things that happen, the deacceleration, how it does it, and at what moments, to kind of see if it would be setting itself up to kind of cruise by Earth rather than fly by at, I think he said, 100,000 miles per hour or something like that, kilometers. Yeah, so same thing. So that's intriguing, and I just thought about that, right? Because obviously we know that there are things coming from other places, and I've always been under the feeling that James Webb Telescope should be something that sees these things coming in, but they say maybe it's looking in through a different spectrum. Okay, maybe it is. I think they say it's using IR, or so it can't technically, be used in the manner that you would use just a regular camera, right? So, but having minds out there that would at least keep us on our toes, right? Because he's absolutely right. I mean, he says he doesn't see anything that makes him believe that this is anything intelligently controlled, but he's like, hey, let's just in case, right? Let's just think about it. Let's think about it and then think about what we would need to do to react in a situation like that. And that's not something too far off. Once again, this is something set to pass through here by the end of the year. Um, and imagine if it is the mothership, right? Imagine if it is, if the ones that are here have called this thing in. This has been, coming for the last 80 years, or they just called it in recently, or whatever the case may be, and it's on the way. You got to think about it. A lot of people think fear mongering and think along those lines. We know that things are here. We know that they are sporadically placed out. Some people talk about seeing motherships. I don't know that that is, a common situation where a lot of people have seen motherships, right? Most people see these little individual objects, and in a lot of cases, they could be considered to be probes or extraterrestrial drones, if you want to call them that. And it's like they're doing pattern searches and they're doing all sorts of stuff like that, right? I know the objects I've shown, the ones I recorded, they were definitely doing something along those lines. They didn't have living things in them. It didn't appear, right? It didn't seem big enough, but they were together and they were in formations and covering areas, right? So it's like, are they scanning? Are they mapping? Or like, what are they doing, right? And then just think, even with the small percentage chance that that thing coming in from outside of our solar system is something intelligent. I know I have some people in the back here I'm going to be bringing up here in just a moment. Let me check the chat before I do that. And just shout out to Avi Lowe for that write up. That was actually pretty awesome. Okay. Let me go back. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oumuamua was the scout ship. This was the mothership. Hey, I didn't even think about, yeah. Why not tie Oumuamua into that, right? Why not? David Nuremberg, it would be hard to believe that the scientists are not going to try to land something on it with the amount of ahead of time notice. I think it's the speed that it's traveling at is the main problem. It's saying that we don't have anything that could catch up to it. Like that meeting point wouldn't be one where we could then pace it like we would normally do to where we could just kind of land on it, right? It's going too fast. So there wouldn't be a way, with the normal ways that we think about landing on something that's moving, we have to match the speed in order to make it seem like it's not moving at all and then land on it, right? If it's going way too fast, it's just not going to allow us to do that. Um, Different part of the elephant, 0.02% would mean we see an object similar size to that three times a year within the distance of Mars and Earth, simply by size of our inner solar system. All right, I haven't done the math. That could be definitely true. Moody Mungle, David Nuremberg, I think Alice is moving way too fast for our craft. Yeah, that's what it is. Because even, I'm sure we could probably intercept it, but it's like it would zip right past us. Like we wouldn't have a chance to even land on it. Let's see, what are those other lights? I think those are just other objects out there. And the way they find something that's moving is they take a lot of these frames, and then that little dot that's pointing to will be at different points of the sky. Everything else is still static. So it kind of shows, okay, this thing is moving. And then that's how they kind of focus on it. Different part of the elephant. I don't think what obvious located is technically rare. It's rare in that we have been using sensors to look for such things until 2009 at the earliest. Yeah, you're right. We haven't been able to detect these things. These could be normal things that fly through the solar system all the time. Likely are. With the more and more frequency you're starting to see them, it's likely we always get these things coming through. But still hold out that small chance that they're intelligently controlled. They're talking about trajectories, really, is one of the things that even alerts them to even be concerned. It's like, okay, it's coming in at not a natural trajectory. So what's that all about? Oh, it decelerated. Remember, Oumuamua accelerated or decelerated. Did one of the two that was unexpected that led them to believe, okay, that's not a comet, that's being intelligently controlled. So they're just looking at the same thing. Maybe everything that comes in interstellar is extraterrestrial. You got to think about it, right? You got to think about that being the case because we see them so often here on Earth that it would make sense that this is a consistent or constant cycle of travel, right? And this might be what we might be discovering, the extraterrestrial highway. It might be what we're looking at. Moody Mungle, its status is now a comet, I think, but because it seems to be older than our entire solar system by billions of years, it may well have less complex elements on it. Yeah, I haven't checked. I haven't checked outside of the story here, so I'll do some more looking into that. Um, Stargazer, we probably have something that can catch Three Eye Atlas right. I mean, if we got the Tic Tac, that should be able to do it. So, but we don't, so that's why we can't do it. Moody Mungle with science are desperate to get as much info as possible on it, as it may give clues to the early universe. Um, Hillbilly Her, release the remote viewers. Let's find out what it is. Yeah, why not, right? If it can be done, why not? Stargazer, rockets use propellants in space. Hydrogen won't burn in space. Different part of the elephant, not in use yet, but the EU has in place a program to park a craft in a Lagrange point in order to intercept future interstellar objects traveling within a reasonable distance. Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Moody Mungles, for Tic Tacs, they only really work in our atmosphere. Any other advanced craft they won't use because our enemies will be able to track, see, study it as it moved through space. Because it's not ours. Something that goes as fast as a Tic Tac is not designed for Earth. That's the first thing. Something that moves at those sorts of speeds is obvious that it's used for long distance travel which would be space. Mel WD-40, send the Space Force to check it out and ask it for its papers. Yeah, Space Force the last people you want to trust because we know they are basically the United States Air Force, who has basically not said anything on this subject, basically the entire time of the cover up, pretty much. Don't trust those guys at all. At all. Let me see. All right. Let me bring it down. Hey, Lex Diaz, thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. Different part of the elephant saying it's an interesting story, but now that we have the ability to push away background noise, these objects are going to be detected fairly regularly as they've been passing us since millennia. I can agree with you on that. That makes total sense, and we will see. Moody Mongol asteroid Anubis, that's going to come far closer than Atlas. We will see that with our naked eye, like the close path we got in 1987 when a large unknown asteroid flew past Earth. Stargazer, Tartar, yes, got a sprite. Okay, yep. Let me see. Anybody that subscribes to the idea that aliens are visiting us from an interstellar location by the means of something similar to this object, you're going to be disappointed. I mean, you just never know. Different part of the elephant. As we figure all this stuff out, you just never know. You might be shocked. It might be a structure full of like nomads. Maybe they're not in any particular rush to get here. Maybe they're just taking their time. Same way as if we had a mass exodus from Earth, if Earth was ending next week and we all had to board something and get out of here, we'd be on a one big thing traveling out there in space, just going for broke, or we be in a bunch of individual little craft. So you gotta wonder. You just never know. You never know. Lex Diaz, we won't see aliens come in celestial bodies move too slow compared to aliens. Booty Mogul Avi Loeb is not exactly well known in astronomy. He's not exactly skilled in science. Always remember that. He does like sound bites though. All right. Different part of the elephant. It's the fastest speed they can travel in craft, and that means their communication is limited by the speed of light. Meaning we'll never hear anything in our lifetimes. I think that all can change. That whole idea behind that communication faster and speed of light. Just there's too many unknowns to hang our hat on that. As far as we know, our communication couldn't do that. That'd be more of an accurate statement. All right, let me scroll through. Let's see. Question: why would advanced aliens use probes? It's a human idea. If they can cross the vastness of space, do you not think they would have tech beyond such thing as probes? I wonder. I'm with you on that, Moody Mungle. And it's what you should definitely question. I always question things like that for sure. Exactly, Rob. It's moving like grease lightning. It's had the time to do so. It's been speeding up for billions of years, probably. Yeah, you never know. You never know. It doesn't make sense how Muamua took off, but maybe we just don't understand. I think it's intelligent, though. Hillbilly Herb says. Besides, we can get a Moody Mungle. Besides, we can get a lot of information from Atlas from a distance. All we miss on is direct sampling, but we'll get to it from the material that comes off of it as it warms. Bim Jim, artist's interpretation of the shape of a Muamua was wrong. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Disclosure fatigue is real, says Lex Diaz. No more BS. And that's the truth. And disclosure fatigue, I'm going to tell you how that kicks in. A lot of people that worry about the government, if you're worrying about the government at all, in the next hearing, is it going to be the one, or is this, if you're sorting through all that stuff that the government is doing and putting out, that's how you run into disclosure fatigue. I'm telling you. If you forget that and let it be, and if something comes from that, okay, great. If you take that sort of approach to it, then you'll find yourself less likely to be confronted with disclosure fatigue. All right, we're almost current here. Stargazer, I believe Space Force is real. All that kind of went away. It's our fifth branch of the armed forces. It's man, the Air Force is complicit. And that's why when Ross Coulthard came out and talked about that General Glenn Van Erck, who we watched on the last show, he's the U.S. Air Force, right? So I don't want to hear anything that they have to say. Like you shouldn't, Ross shouldn't have even brought that guy up. I don't care if he ran NORAD. I don't care about it. That means he saw stuff coming in from space, as if he worked for NORAD. And if all he's still talking about is terrestrial spending, terrestrial war, terrestrial adversary, then that does it for me as far as that part of the conversation goes. Let's see, Stargazer. Y'all wait till y'all see the massive triangles that's come in. I saw them in 2016 being moved out of the path of a hurricane. I saw 7 of them doing 30 miles per hour. It's real tech. I hear about them. I've never seen them. I would love to. Um, yeah, no, different part of the elephant. Hey, I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm just tempering my own hopes. Yeah, and you should be, man. Critical thinking is the key. Some people get mad at me when I do it. I've had experiences, but you got to question. Like, what are we doing if you're not questioning? If you're just going along with what's being said, you got to question it all. Let's see. David Norenberg, ever since the James Webb Telescope has been implemented, so much new data is coming forth. It seems like every day. True. Different part of the elephant, Rob. You should find out if there's any information about the craft the European Union that planned to park in orbit to intercept the future interstellar objects. Avi Loeb talked about it. You know what? I'm going to do that. I didn't know that. So that's brand new news to me. I would love to see what that's about. So I'll try to remember, or if you can email me, that'd be awesome. And I'll look into it for sure. Let's see. Okay. Triangles. All right. I think we are current. I know it sounds crazy, but this is real tech. We own it. Stargazer. Don't fall into that pot 100%, because once again, we can say we've created, you know, anything, right? Because we have a black project, contractors that work on black projects. So we could just, at the end of the day, say they've created anything, right? And it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just like, where's the proof of it? Like, we should only back and talk about things that we have proof of, because yeah, we can speculate all day on what the government may have. They may be 100 years ahead. They may be 200 years ahead. We don't know that. You go into that contractor and find out they are 15 years ahead, right? Walk up in there or talk to somebody that works there, like, dude, everybody says we're like 100. Like, dude, we're only like 20 years ahead, right? Would you be shocked to find that out? If someone from the inside came and told you that, would you be shocked to find that out? Because it just seems like everyone assumes that we're 50 to 100 to 200 years ahead. I don't know where you're getting this information, guys. It's great thoughts. I would hope that we're hella far ahead, because we have to deal with the extraterrestrial presence. So I'm hoping that we're pretty far as just like planetary defense is concerned. Forget traveling into space. Let's think about protecting the planet from the things that are coming here. So I hope we're 50, 100 years ahead on that. But then what does that mean to them? That probably doesn't mean anything to them, right? So I think we give ourselves too much sometimes, assuming that we have just cracked the code. Humans have cracked the code. Yeah, we fully understand their tech. Yeah, we reverse engineered it. We've done all this within the last 50, 60 years. What makes people so sure of that? Like, why? Because these black projects, are they supposed to be like magicians that work in these black projects that just can create magic? Or is it, because I don't, until we get something that comes out of there this release where it's like, whoa, okay, that's next level. What they just released right there is next level. That would at least open you up to saying, hey, man, they probably got other stuff. But if we're just talking about stealth technology here, if that's the best latest thing that's come out of these black projects or better stealth technology, then what are we talking about? What are we even talking about? But is it our Stargazer? Who was in it? Who was piloting it? Did you see people in it? And then if you saw people, were they Palladians? Then you got to go there. I'll be 10% open. I'm not saying just period. I'm just saying it's very unlikely that that's the case. Very unlikely. I'll leave the window open for human beings to be able to have created something fantastic. But you know, like I said, going back to what we know these aliens have come here in this with this high tech. We know they've come here with the tech. We know they own the tech, and you know, I would lean more to it being theirs than ours. But if somehow with that little 10% window, we were able to somehow make it work because it just is consciousness and we already have that. So we already have what we need to operate it. Then, okay, I can go with you on that. That's why I'll leave the 10% open. If it just has to do with the consciousness that we all have, then yeah. But recreating the materials here on Earth and the tech here on Earth, I just don't think that we would have the same elements as that would be found on other planets. I think it'd be a little variation. So some things you could build here on Earth, you probably can't build on another planet because they just don't have the elements or the resources to do it. And it could be something simple to us, right? So you just never know. All right. With that being said, I think we got through that. So now we can get into the show. Get in talking about some Skinny Bob here, and I'll bring in our guest who's been patiently waiting in the back. Guys, the first one to hop on stage tonight, none other than Cosmic Joe Chronicles. How you doing, Cosmic Joe?
Pretty good. How's it going with you, Rob?
It's going okay, Cosmic Joe. Just I wanted to kind of talk about that story first. This interstellar object coming into our solar system. You remember Oumuamua, and they're thinking maybe this is like the third one they found since Oumuamua. I think including Oumuamua. So it's weird. It's new. It's different. There's a lot of things about it that make you wonder what it is, the trajectory, the speeds, if it slows down, then is it showing intent, like it's intelligently controlled? Like, what do you think about? Have you seen the story, and what do you think about it?
Just knew about it through you right now, but
Okay.
I sense that this spacecraft, which I think it is, um, could be playing from a galaxy where they did something or somebody's just after them. So maybe something is bigger is gonna come to and retrieve this spacecraft or the people who are in it. You know, I think
Yeah.
this is something I think is something that I got intuition about. Yeah,
You know what it could be? It could be like maybe it could be some sort of extraterrestrial supply station, right? It could be something like they have a billions of these floating around space, and you can dock up with it and resupply your stocks and all this, like a store, like a floating mall or a floating, it could be anything. It could be anything like that, and we just don't know. Is
yeah,
it is
yeah,
it just an extraterrestrial in there flying to a destination? Maybe not. Maybe it's just or going all around the entire universe. Like, and there's a bunch of them, and you, whenever you see one, you dock up with it, you go on board it, you do whatever you do, and then you leave it. Right? Maybe.
Maybe. Um,
Yeah.
and they'll think the triangle craps, or you know, a big one was above my house one time. And my sister was here, but she had an anxiety attack. She had to go to the hospital with her kids, right?
Hmm.
And this is interdimensional um thing that's happening with some spacecraft like the one I was aboard in 1970. But this out of my window, I could feel an interdimensional pull of something, and I've seen a beam come down in my backyard. And then I was aboard this craft. It was a government craft, but it was extraterrestrials on it, and they had all kinds of spaceships, including ones that like jet fighters and stuff, and
Hmm.
spacecraft all boarded. And then all these was privileged to know about that for a few seconds before I woke up in bed with dirt on my feet. So I was
Hmm.
definitely taking aboard that crap. I think it's gonna be a time where you talked about inner depends on uh, depending on our planet,
Yep.
You talk about that, that's what's is gonna happen. And I don't think that we're gonna survive this planet. Some people could go underground. I know that I've seen um, something built in this field behind me, and there was no reason for there to be this manhole cover on this um field. So I think that's an underground piece that goes really deep underground. Now I'm not gonna try to go there because I don't want to be underground. I'm gonna be on the space arc. There are these triangle shaped to depend our galaxy.
Yeah.
So that's my thought, thought about that.
And you gotta hope that we are developing something. You gotta hope we're doing something because once again, these things are here. It seems to be a decent number of them here now. If you think about all the different encounters that people talk about over time, they seem to be a good number of them here now. But it's like, is there a whole nother regimen of these things coming on in, and then is that when everything hits the fan, like, and once again, just hoping that we're not spending all our time trying to reverse engineer, which is obviously important to do, but hopefully we're developing things like planetary defense just from things that could pop up out of nowhere. So I'm really hoping that's the case. But I know you know about Skinny Bob, right? Have you heard about Skinny Bob? Do you know who Skinny Bob is?
No, that's a
Wow.
news to me too. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about it. And it's fairly new to me as well, Colin Joe. Yeah, I've seen Skinny Bob. It's the guy right here on the screen, the little alien guy next to my photo here. And let
I
me,
did see this video people were with this alien, but I knew it was Skinny Bob though.
yes, yes, that's what they call this guy, Skinny Bob. I'm going to read real quick a little piece here, and then that will give you some information on Skinny Bob, and then we'll go ahead and look at the video. There also is a video Cosmic Road did. I was sent this by T Bone, where he had done some sort of small analysis on Skinny Bob. So I thought it'd be fun to watch that and kind of as he reacts to the video, react to his video, and kind of give some input. So let me start with the story, and then we'll get into the actual. Well, let me actually play the video. Why not? Let me see here. All right. So this is Skinny Bob. In May 2011, a YouTuber username Ivank02 uploaded a video titled "Alien Interview." That no, is this Alien Interview or Skinny Bob? Let me see. Okay. Alien interview that quickly gained traction within the UFO community. The black and white grainy footage purportedly depicted an extraterrestrial being, later dubbed Skinny Bob, seated and seemingly interacting in what looked like an official interview or documentation scenario. The video claimed to originate from classified KGB files and hinting at a Cold War era encounter. Skinny Bob appeared as a typical representation of a gray alien, approximately 4 feet tall, with an oversized, elongated cranium, large, dark, almond shaped eyes, and a small, thin body. His skin seemed smooth and slightly textured, and his demeanor was eerily calm. What set the footage apart from the other alleged alien clips was the natural, nuanced movement of Skinny Bob, included blinking, breathing, and subtle facial expressions, which lent an unsettling authenticity to the recording. Following the initial release, Ivango 2 uploaded more snippets, claiming they were part of a larger collection of classified materials. These clips depicted other alien beings, some standing in groups, possibly part of diplomatic meetings with human officials. The caption suggested the footage was from the 1940s or 50s, adding layers to the Cold War conspiracy narrative. UFO researchers pointed out the video's realistic details, arguing that advanced CGI techniques of the time would have struggled to produce such lifelike movements. Proponents believe Skinny Bob was genuine evidence of extraterrestrial contact, possibly linked to historic events like the Roswell incident. Skeptics argue that the video could be an elaborate hoax crafted by a skilled visual effects artist. They noted the anonymous nature of the uploader, the lack of verifiable sources, and no follow up information undermine the credibility of the footage. Government involvement. Some theories suggest that the video is part of a controlled disclosure effort, subtly preparing the public for the revelation of extraterrestrial life. Others posted it Others posted it was disinformation or psychological warfare material from the Cold War era. Adding more intrigue, the original uploader, Ivank02, vanished from the internet shortly after posting the videos. No further uploads or verifications followed, fueling theories about government intervention and cover ups. Attempts to trace the video's origins or contact the uploader met dead ends, deepening the mystery. So it just pops up in around 2011, and a lot of people are like, okay, well, think of CGI back in 2011. Would they have been able to create a video once again like the one we're about to show here, the Skinny Bob video? Would they have been able to do this? It blinks, and it's that's one of the most compelling things to me is the blinking, because CGI have done this.
Maybe. I think it could be genuine because if the uploader vanished, perhaps he was circular and maybe um un alive, maybe.
It's and so they're put we're talking 2011, so this is 14 years ago. It's supposed to be of a video taken in the like 50s roughly time frame. Like this supposedly happened in the 50s. Uh, the footage, if we're gonna say it's footage from the 50s, it just doesn't feel like footage from the 50s to me. It
Yeah,
just doesn't feel like it's that old. It feels like it's a lot newer. So that time frame for me doesn't work just based on the quality of the film. You see a lot of, if you watch any of those old war films, and the actual footage, the raw footage from war from then, and just really anything that wasn't untreated, anything that was just taken with the video camera, it's usually more jumpy, more artifacts in the film, and it just doesn't feel for me that it is actually that old. But there was an analysis done, and I'm just interested to know what the Cosmic Road said about this. So I'm gonna bring that up real quick. This is the overview, and I'm not gonna play much of it because he does talk over this and does some narration. So I'm gonna let him say a few things, and we'll kind of jump in. But this is what he was getting from the video. Let's take a look.
Was Skinny is Skinny Bob real? Well, let's talk about Skinny Bob. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs
Can
and
you
the
hear that?
paranormal. Please hit like and
yeah,
subscribe and let me know what you
Okay.
think in the comments below. Now, I'm going to assume that you know who Skinny Bob is, and I'm not going to go over the whole history of Skinny Bob. But Eddie Abbott was just on Undercover ET UK with Rob, who I was interviewed by just the other day, and I interviewed him for the channel before that. So definitely go check out both of those interviews. Well, Rob sat down with Eddie, who was telling Rob about his information pertaining to Skinny Bob. And people are talking about Skinny Bob again. And so I think the time is right to talk about Skinny Bob. Who is Eddie Abbott, this gentleman that Rob sat down with to interview? Well, here's Linda Moulton Howe, who also interviewed him, going over his creds.
Edward Keith.
Once again, shout out to Cosmic Road, who actually did the reaction video of a Linda Moulton Howe video, which is where the source of this video comes from. So make sure to go to both of those channels, guys, and give them, tell them you saw the video here, and give them a thumbs up.
Abbott, at an older age than most, at 34, entered the U.S. Army in 2006. He did basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He wanted to be an intelligence analyst and was sent to Fort Huachuca, Arizona for 16 weeks of training from March to September of 2006. Briefly after that, he was sent to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. There, he was attached to the 5th Group Special Forces, where he could have a beard. That's where Eddie Abbott was photographed wearing this Army camouflage fatigue shirt and the black beret, which was the primary headgear for all United States Army troops, then worn as part of the Army service uniform. He was also allowed to grow a beard in the context of his Special Forces status. Next, after Fort Campbell, Eddie was assigned to the one place that he most wanted to work, at S3, the 500th Military Intelligence Brigade at Schofield Barracks on Oahu, Hawaii. He arrived there in early 2007 with his wife, their 3 girls, and 1 boy, Tobias, who was in grade school.
Okay, so that's how he wound up with military intelligence. As his career in military intelligence went forward, he was able to go into SCIFs and he got access to UFO information. One of the things that he saw.
And everybody, I want you to let me know what you think about. So listen to everything that's being said. Let me know if it makes sense, if it adds up, because this part of the story I was not privy to, and so hearing this part of it gives context. But let's see if it even makes any sense. So let's go.
All was the full video, the full Skinny Bob video with saucers and all sorts of stuff, right? Here he is with Rob on Undercover ET UK, and I highly encourage you to go watch the full interview, and I'll link to it below. Here he is describing what he saw in that skiff about Skinny Bob.
60, 1959, 62, somewhere in there. Just by looking at the stamp on it, you could tell this is old. And now it's going, and now you got the flicker. Like if you were looking at it, remember the old school things in school? They put it in. So that's what it's looking like. And now I'm looking at a craft. Okay, so it's not the first craft I've seen, but I mean, this is a legitimate disc, like maybe 80 feet, hovering above a house, and they're in a vehicle from the camera angle, and it's going down a road, filming this thing just hovering above a house. It's black and white, and from that point on, now all of a sudden the camera angle shifts up in the air. Now we're flying it with the camera, following another one of these craft, and then another one appears. And now, like from me to my neighbor's yard is how close it was. And I have a huge yard, but from me, maybe I'll say 30 meters, right? So 30 meters away is the first craft, and about 50 meters away is the second craft coming into view. Obviously, these things are bigger than whatever plane they're in. And if they follow it for a little while, and then it cuts to a being. And when I say a being, giant-headed guy. Now, this is my first ever visual of an alien. He's got a big head, right? He's got features similar to a very petite, small, I mean, tiny nose. Almost no mouth, but there was a mouth. I painted him. You want to see the painting?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yes.
Let me grab it out of him. This is what I saw.
Color and everything.
This is what I saw. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I saw this. I did see this part earlier, and is it just me, or is he claiming that he painted this entire picture off of what he saw? Because it's basically one of the frames from the video. So it's like, did you paint this from memory, or did you paint this looking at the frame in the video? Because it's the exact same pose that it gives in the video. So it's just, that part is weird to me and doesn't make sense.
Why is he wearing sunglasses?
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of how it looks in the video. And that's what's just strange to me, is like, okay, if you're doing this off of memory, off of what you saw, you're literally, if it will play the video after this, and maybe they'll play it during this, but one of the frames in the video, you see the extraterrestrial standing there, full body image. Actually, I do have a picture of it. I'll show it afterwards. But it's the same frame. So I'm not understanding if this guy is trying to say he painted this off his memory of what he saw, because it literally seems like he just looked at the frame of the video and then painted based off of that. But we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you think.
So this is how it appeared. Right here, I added the background so it popped out a little bit. But this is what craft looked like as well. So I painted what I know. I don't know if you can see that craft.
Yep.
That's how they appear in the sky.
Wow.
So you see that there? They're translucent, and when you want to look at them, they look like individual little orbs that are red. But this is the guy.
Windows.
This is what he looked like. I kid you not. I'm a really good artist. This is what he looked like.
Wow. That's crazy as well, because we saw red lights over at Sutton Venie Crop Circle just last week.
Yeah, then they go into a discussion of orbs, but there you go. Eddie is talking about his experience in a skiff, seeing Skinny Bob footage complete with saucers. I would love to know all about that. What's the real truth of all of that? Now, I don't know of anybody that's, been in a skiff with Eddie. I don't know if it's been confirmed that he has been in skiffs and so on. I would love to see that confirmed. But people are talking about Skinny Bob, of course. ProPixels is saying Skinny Bob is back in the cycle, and we are being told he is 100% real alien DNA. I put the original clips through my diffusion process, not AI upscale, to get the maximum detail. I clip in a few interesting aspects of his features. This is about as clean as I can get while still respecting the original details in the video. All right, well, let's see this upscaled Skinny Bob footage. Oh, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Now, to me, I always kind of thought Skinny Bob was CGI. I'll be honest. I'd never really placed a lot of stock in Skinny Bob. Some of the research is pretty compelling, and some of the analyses of the video is pretty compelling. I never quite knew what to think about Skinny Bob. Still don't. Still don't. Yeah, let me know your theories about Skinny Bob in the comments below. I did have Anita O'Conan, a remote viewer, on the channel, and she remote viewed Skinny Bob. Under blind conditions, I just gave her a series of numbers as her target, and she was saying being kept in like an underground facility, and I think she said like bodies were being thrown down to them and stuff like that. Crazy stuff. Yeah, you can go watch the full interview with Anita about her session, her remote viewing session on the channel. Now, if this is CGI, it's pretty good.
I will say that's the thing that gets me. I can agree with everything Cosmic Road is saying here. I would lean into CGI, and we're thinking 2011, maybe a little earlier than that. And if someone who knew what they were doing was using CGI, I would probably say yes. But it's like there's a little just a gray area there for me. The eyes just always get me. The blinking of the eyes always makes me think twice. Like, man, I don't know. I don't know.
Me neither, really.
It's hard to say, right? I mean,
Some much
you
can be done through Photoshop that make it look like it's old footage, you know?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like Adobe, yeah, Adobe Premiere and all they can do this,
Yeah.
especially today for sure. Today they can definitely do it. But 2011, let's see, 2011 that was what was out? It was Windows 7, Windows Vista,
Yeah,
something like that.
remember all of those.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm on the fence. Let's see what else he has to say.
This is definitely older. Um, it's compelling. It's definitely compelling. Skinny Bob has never really been debunked. There was, obviously, well, I mean, there's been many debunkings, but all of the debunkings in turn seem to get debunked. Now, there's been multiple remote viewings on it, not just Anita. Metaphysical is interviewing remote viewers who remote viewed Skinny Bob, and they said, yeah, not CGI.
Okay, if anybody knows who these guys are, maybe can direct to where they do their work, kind of see who these guys are, if they're really remote viewers or if they're BSing. But we'll go ahead and take a look. There's a few more minutes left of this video. So here we go.
Like, we didn't get CGI. That would have been very apparent. We didn't get animatronics. We didn't get a person in a suit. We didn't get anything like that. All the data went specifically to describing this being, and some viewers are even calling it an alien or a gray alien, that it was in a state of physical, very high level physical and emotional stress, right? So this thing had been captured through one of the events where their ships were taken down, right? It was sort of like an event that was created in order to create another link into humans, and it was in a sense a sacrifice by those beings to sacrifice poor old Skinny Bob. There's an aspect that is slightly amphibian within the genetics and frog-like.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we would compare it to, that we were seeing with our data, that it needed to be, well, it needed to be in a pond. It was like give it a lily pad in a pond, it probably would have been okay. But no, there was this aspect where frog skin is very sensitive, right? And there's a certain environment that it needs, and that's kind of what Skinny Bob needed. And it also sort of fed in a way through its skin, like it received nutrients and stuff through its skin, almost like chlorophyll as well, like plants. So there was this connection, this link with plants. too, which is very curious.
The remote viewer goes on talking about how his team tried to actually and did connect to the consciousness of Skinny Bob. And Skinny Bob was depressed. He was in custody. He was thinking, oh no, I'm trapped here basically. Not a happy individual. And he tried to, as the remote viewer says, bounce the remote viewing team out. Skinny Bob, the alien, would picture like a nature scene, and he would concentrate on it so hard that the remote viewer would be directed into that nature scene and would start describing the nature scene instead of Skinny Bob, unless they caught on to it and figured out what was going on. So super interesting, an intelligent, sophisticated being, not CGI, according to this remote viewing, and also the remote viewing of Anita O'Conan. And now we have the testimony of Eddie Abbott. We've had it for a while. He's been out there for years, who not only was in a skiff with this material, but got to see,
But can he even talk about a skiff? I mean, can he even talk about what he saw in a skiff if he was in a skiff? I don't even think he could do that. So that doesn't make, unless I'm incorrect about that, but I'm pretty sure that whatever they're talking about in a skiff cannot be talked about outside a skiff. Ergo, why it's in a skiff to begin with. So I think that might take care of that, but let's check out the last minute or two of this video.
Saucers and other things on the video, and drew what he saw, which is indeed Skinny Bob. He's got a lot of other information, and I've gone over some of that information about cattle mutilation. So again, I encourage you to go watch the interview at Undercover ET UK, or find the older Linda Moulton Howe interviews. Just a really interesting set of information that Eddie has. Obviously use your own discernment.
All right, we can end that there. And this is just the raw video of the Skinny Bob. And so it's the picture the guy painted is, if you've seen this full frame, top to bottom, this is what he painted. So he's like, you did this from memory, from the skiff, or did you watch a video like we all are watching and took it from the frame of the video?
It's creepy. Really creepy.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. I mean, there's just something about the video, even though it's like, man, this can't be. It can't be what they're saying it is. That's my problem with it. It just feels like it can't be what they're saying it is. A video from the 50s, it just doesn't feel like that. If they were saying it was from a different time frame, then
the aliens look genuine, but the timeline, like you said, is questionable.
Yeah, and that blows a big hole in their story. And then it doesn't help. It would help if a lot of the other part of the story made sense along with it. And then the poster of the video just disappears, which you can look at two different ways depending on how you want to look at it. You can say, oh, the government got to him and they made him disappear. Or you'd be like, oh, the guy hoaxed it and didn't want to stand up to it and kind of just ran away from the internet or kind of abandoned the account. So more likely the second option there, even though it is still crazy to look at. And I'll say that. Now, I do have, and what are your opinions on that? Guys out there, I see you guys are saying, see, the alien interview is so much more compelling than this. And I'm glad you brought that up, because guess what? We got the alien interview right here, right now. And that was going to be the next one we're going to watch. All that music is just too much.
Yes.
Jesus.
Really too much.
Before you turned it over to this program. That's correct. I
Yeah,
can't allow
looks,
the voices of the
looks,
project personnel
looks
to be
like
heard by the
Donald
general
Trump.
public. There's a very good chance their
Right.
family or friends on the outside might recognize them.
Isn't your purpose in releasing this tape to expose Area 51 to the world?
My purpose is to
So supposedly there's this alien interrogation video is what this is supposed to be, where they have this being and during the interrogation, it's supposed to be sometime in the 90s, I believe. During this interrogation, the alien has this medical issue, and the nurses and doctors have to run to save this extraterrestrial in this moment of despair. And this is the video that came out behind it. Let me know how you guys feel about this one.
A puppet.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling like, but here we go.
Puppet,
expose the existence of the aliens, not compromise these individuals. I made the decision to come forward. I'm taking precautions to protect my own identity, and I don't think it's fair for me to put these others in danger of exposure. In any case, the interview on the tape went nowhere. It was interrupted, as you'll see.
Can you describe for us what we're seeing?
All right, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. The figure who is just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath, and behind the camera is a raked seating area for observers. Although in this case, I believe the only other person present was a military aide. The alien is seated behind a glass partition in a biocontainment area, which is maintained at biosafety level 2, the lowest designation. That's primarily for the protection of the aliens, not us. The theory is that if they were going to infect us with an alien bug, it would have happened 50 years ago. In fact, all the indications are the aliens eliminated microbial and viral life from their own ecosystem long ago. They aren't susceptible to our diseases directly, but it has been shown that microbes can reproduce and form colonies within their respiratory systems, which tends to exacerbate the debilities they seem to suffer anyway in our environment. In fact, you can see here the alien is beginning to flag. The interview was not going well. The telepath was trying to clarify some points from a previous interview, but he wasn't receiving coherent responses. As you can see, the being is in real distress. At this point, the telepath is sending out a message to the medical staff. He's trying to communicate with the alien, but he's getting no response. There's very little he can do. There's no direct connection between his space and the biocontainment area. That's the aide stepping in on the right. The medical staff should be there by now. They're slow in responding. There they are. I have to say the medical personnel at S4 are less than first rate. They tend to be selected for their willingness to keep secrets rather than their medical competence. By the way, he's not shining that light into the eyes. It looks that way, but in fact he's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity. I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
You're asking me if I think this is real? That have I finally seen a space alien? I don't know. But I do know this. I know that this is not a tricked up version like the alien autopsy. It doesn't attempt to distract you away from the alien. It doesn't have that cinema verite, black and white. It doesn't go to great lengths to try to fool the audience. Straight ahead. It's an alien on tape. Pretty much the way you'd probably film it. But the point is this. What if it is real?
In evaluating the authenticity of the alien interview tape, the logical place to begin is with the videotape itself. What can the technical details of this recording tell us about its origin? Rocket Pictures sent Victor's original tape to the Phoenix laboratory of renowned image analyst Jim Delatoso. Using the most up-to-date digital technology, Delatoso tried to determine the tape's authenticity.
I've been exploring, looking at different aspects.
Oh, okay. Looks like we didn't have that full video, so you can find the rest of that video online. But I think we saw enough of it to be able to formulate some feelings about it. What did you feel about this video, Cosmic Joe? What were some things, like if you're being fair and you're looking at it from both sides, what would you say about this video? What would be your opinion?
Complete fabrication, in my opinion. It's a puppet, and didn't even had eyes blinking or anything. It was done to, I don't know why it was done, but it definitely didn't seem like it was real to me.
Okay, and if there was anything about the video you could point to that says, yeah, that's kind of weird though. I don't know about that one. Maybe that. Was there anything about the video where you thought it could be, any part of it could have been real?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's being truthful. I mean, that's kind of what we have to do is we look through this stuff, and I'm going to look in the audience, see what people's opinions are there. But for me, the thing that was getting me was and I understand this was the moment when it was supposed to be having the medical issue, but the bobbling of the head was just strange for me because it didn't seem like a natural, like a motion that something living would make. Like the
Yeah.
bobbling of the head doesn't seem like a natural, unless it's on some sort of hinge or it's on, something that would facilitate the bobble, right? It's just the bobble gets to me on that video. Now, on the face of it, yeah, I didn't see any eyes blinking. Okay, so but maybe this species doesn't blink, right? Maybe you can explain it away with that. The the other thing I didn't like about it was the fact that it had its mouth open the entire time. Like it had its mouth open the entire time the video ran, and there was no change in expression. There was no change in any of the facial feature of this thing. It just
Right.
and which would because here's my thought process. If it were alive, it would have the ability to move features in its face. If it's having a medical issue, that's how you would normally be able to tell like another human being is having an issue. You look at the look on their face and you can tell they're distressed or they're having an issue. So the fact that this thing had the only way we could tell that it was going through a medical issue was it bobbling its head. That would mean that it's probably doing that because it can't represent facial expression. And so those two things right there is just hard to get over those things. So it had to bobble its head to let you know that it's having a medical issue. It couldn't adjust its face at all. It couldn't close its eyes to show pain or uh, kind of move its mouth as if it were trying to speak or just anything to indicate, physically that it was having problems except for the bobbling of the head. That part just is hard to get past that. It's hard to get past that.
Yeah,
Uh,
what kind of interview was that where it was not communicating verbally and the telepathic telepathically maybe, but that's
right, right. I mean, and I'm assuming that's what it was. Supposed to be telepathic communication, But just looking at just the basics of it, right? Because here you go, Skinny Bob, even though I would not vouch for that video 100%, I will say I saw life in the object. I saw life in the facial features, the movements, and anything that's alive should be able to move. It should be able to move its parts of its body, and it's just like strange that that one wasn't able to do that. Now I know John Stewart is out there, um, and he's promoting this pretty hard right now. He spent a lot of money, and I know he's out there. He's brought this back out, and he's saying he's talked to all these different people. He's connecting a lot of dots. Supposedly, Colin Powell was in the room. Is if you want to go down one road, but it's like all that can be true, but why isn't it moving? Like, why isn't anything on its body moving? Why is it, you know, herky jerky motions and it's not anything that you would see in life? I just don't know. I don't know. Let me
Me
go ahead and
neither.
look in the chat and you know, and I hate because I'm open to a lot of stuff, but I've seen that video 1,000 times and
Mm.
I can point to now here this is what I'll do just to be fair is if I were going to point to anything that said okay, well it could be now the eyes seem wet. So the eyes, it had a gloss on it, so it definitely seemed like if it was a species that didn't blink or just didn't blink for this video, potentially the eyes being wet could be a sign that it is something that is real. The skin even seemed to be a little moist. Um, you know, and those would be the things I could point to be like, okay, let's look at that, right? But you could explain those two things away pretty easily. You could sprayed water or some sort of anything on the thing to kind of, make it not look dry.
Yeah.
So, and that's just looking at it from a open-minded perspective. I would love to see anybody else saying anything. I'm gonna go back in the chat because I know some people were going back and forth about it. So let me see. Um, okay, Moody Mungle. This is about 12 minutes ago. I'm trying to catch all the way up. The original Alien interview. In my honest opinion, it's a puppet. The gravity of the head body as it bobs gives away it's a rear control puppet, and that's kind of what I was saying. Not necessarily going that deep, but it would need to make more sense on why it was doing what it was doing. Lex Diaz, yeah, right. If I showed you a picture of a rabbit dying, you would say it's fake too. And I understand that perspective because if you haven't seen anything, that's what I said about the Peru mummies. If you've never seen a mummified extraterrestrial before, then how do you know what you're looking at is not what they're saying that it is? Obviously, there's still more analysis that has to go there, but I understand that perspective. If you've never seen something in that state, then how can you say that what you're seeing is not that, right? I get that. And that's a good point, and it's definitely something to think about. Lil Camp 5-1, the idea that aliens like Skinny Bob even have hands with 5 fingers on them is absurd in and of itself. No evidence of that. Having 5 fingers is not universal, automatic BSCGI for me. I don't know. Did Skinny Bob have 5 fingers? I don't remember. I thought it had like 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think it had 4. I could be wrong. You can't tell from that angle.
Yeah, you cannot tell.
Yeah. I thought it had 4, but I don't know. Moody Mungle. Plus, when this guy's voice was decoded to get rid of the audio filter, he sounded exactly like the documentary narrator producer. It's a little odd, too. Yeah, I don't know that you could decode or if that's possible. I know what you're talking about. I heard that angle of it, too. But just even without all that extra stuff, just looking on the face of what we have, right? Just looking at what we have and then using common sense, kind of breaking it down and seeing where common sense leads us, I think we could probably say that there's a lot about the video that seems strange. It just, you know, Hillbilly Herb. I can't remember. Is this Dan Burrish or J Rod, or is it another story? Stargazer says the alien called Eben 1. Blue Riders DG. Colin Powell was in the alien interview, according to someone who analyzed it thoroughly. Yeah, I heard that one. Lex Diaz, if I showed you a video of a cow drawing USA, was fake too, because you don't know what a cow dying looks. Yeah, no. And that, once again, that's a great point to make for sure, because that you're right about that statement. Bim Jim, there are many different types of grays, from 2 feet tall to 7 feet tall. Some have souls, some don't. The grays I met were 5'3" and not very intelligent. David Nuremberg says, and he is supposed to be special forces. Those guys are so wired type. It's just hard for me to believe that this was allowed to happen on the Skinny Bob video, right? Moody Mungle, notice this looks quite different from Skinny Bob 2, no eye blinking, etc. Looks like all his quote weight is in the head where the puppeteers would be. I kind of understand that as well. Lex Diaz, I don't understand the logic. If I show you a video of an animal dying, you've never seen the animal. It's not fake because he's dying. You just never seen it. Rethink your thinking, and that's fair to say. It's a fair statement to make. Will Riders DG. Colin Powell's off to the left. You can see more clearly a guy with a deep analysis of this video. Yeah, I saw that. His head is bigger than a basketball for sure. Nice high tech laptop there. To Billy Herb saying hee hee. Lex Diaz disagrees, said this is some horse shit, guys. See what you guys are talking about. Different part of the elephant says it's just one of those things where it's something that needs to be proven true, not being shown to be fake. Yeah, I mean, I think it more so leans on the burden of being shown to be true, just based on so many things that you could discount about the video. And I would want it to be true, obviously. I would want it, everything we're looking at to be the real deal here. Moody Mungle, Jim Henson used rear control puppets too. Sometimes, for certain shots, I trust the alien interview video less than Skinny Bob. Very Jim Henson-esque. I mean, that's the bobbing of the head. That's what makes it sort of Muppets. I know what you mean. Purple cupfish. It just has that daytime TV feel. Lil Cam 5'1", again, 5 fingers on hands. I don't know that they have 5 fingers, though, Lil Cam. I think they do grays with 4 fingers, if I'm not mistaken. 4 or 3. Different part of the elephant is just the same video they showed on the Fox Network in the 90s as a special event. I think this is from back in that time frame. And that's what I'm saying, because Jon Stewart came out, not Jon Stewart from the Jon Stewart show, but the other Jon Stewart came out and spent some money on this, really backing it, and talked to a lot of people, did some footwork. So, I mean, if I was going to look at anything, I would think to determine anything further on it, I probably listen to Jon Stewart since he spent the money, and talked to different people. I think it'd be fair to look at his analysis of it just to see what he says. I would definitely be open to that. Paul Damon, the medical equipment and the timestamps does it for him. Hillbilly Herb, there's supposedly something strange about the green lasery thing toward the bottom, but can't remember what now. It's supposed to be a real device. I heard that too. But that's the thing. Once you start getting a lot of people involved, then there's a lot of stuff to sift through. Let's just break it down to the basics. If somebody just gave you this video right now, you seeing it for the first time right now, where do you go with it? That's the question. That's kind of what we're doing here. Moody Mungle, yeah, Rob, it feels like someone's hand is inside the head and is manipulating it. David Nuremberg, well, what he said about the competency of some of the staff is kind of correct from my knowledge and information. Moody Mungle, the gravity of the alien looks like it's behind the alien, the puppeteer's location. Lex Diaz, Jet Express looks on your face right now. Moody Mungle, I mean, an intelligent, quote, alien might have no facial movement, but when you add up all the issues, that makes it hard to believe. Yeah, yeah. I would say that, yeah, it could have caught it for those few minutes with no facial movements. Very possible. Um, the eye movement is convincing. I didn't see eye movement on the second one. Lex Diaz, okay, good night. All right, have a good night, Lex Diaz. You fought a good fight. You fought a good fight. You definitely made a great point too. Critical thinking just went out the window. No, I think your point still stands. Your point still stands. And if you've never seen it, how can you say it's not, right? So that can't be debunked right now. So you have, that's a win right there. Woo Riders DG, how dull a person must be to purportedly fake videos. Like, seriously, go find a hobby. Some people are wackadoos. Let's see. Paul Damon, or John Stewart. Let's see. Dear part of the elephant. I put this in the category needs to be proven true, doesn't need to be debunked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moody Mungle. People fake these videos for many reasons. Prestige, to get exposure for their work, even a job interview. True. Some people think that it was like a clip from a movie that never came out. I could see that totally. That would make a lot of sense if someone came out and said that. Sorts out of people who can't think critically. Yeah. No, you just, if as long as you're open, you could be open. You gotta present the case, man. You gotta present the case. Or Moody Mungo, or they could be test effects for a movie, TV show, perhaps one that never got made. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Let me move forward here. Moody Mungo, in my opinion, videos of real things are more relatable to our senses. Fake things often raise our inbuilt spider sense, especially if you've worked in effects CGI. That's understandable. I've only heard John Stewart on one other show. I think he would be an easy guest to get, Rob. You know what? I'm gonna consider that. I thought about it before, but he was doing a bunch of shows at the time, but I haven't seen him on one in a while, so I may definitely reach out. Um, okay, yeah, he's been on the Cosmic Road show, and shout out to Cosmic Road. We used your video tonight. We appreciate you. Um, let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Just want to get current here. This is key. Chain of custody is key. That's why my UFO video is still on the same phone that I recorded it on, the same original file, and it will remain there until someone really wants to really look at it. Like, I don't have copies of the copies. I have still the original file, metadata, everything intact. And that's what you should do. And it's chain of custody for mine. So anyone that wants to further, look into my case, I have the original video, original metadata. Appreciate you, Lex Diaz. Thanks for coming in. You're awesome. We appreciate you. And like I said, you give good points. That's what it's all about. But we can always go back to this video.
Fucking chicken. A fucking chicken.
Doing the funky chicken down the driveway. And some person was like, it's a kid with underwear on his head. He's doing the funky chicken. I'm like, what kid today does the funky chicken? What kid do you know that even knows what the funky chicken is? I think that just debunks your whole state of thought right there. Like, no kids do the funky chicken today. What are we talking about?
They're really weird
So,
looking.
yeah. And so I said I would take a screen grab of one of the frames on that Dobby video that we looked at before.
Corby, yeah.
And let me This is one of the frames I was talking about. Let me get back full screen slide. Let me see. I can't get it bigger, huh? Let me see. Yep. Okay, let me see if it's on. I'm looking to make sure you can see it. Okay, this is the Dobby video. This is the extraterrestrial. I don't care what nobody says.
Gobby.
This is the extraterrestrial. This is something walking down this person's driveway. Take this video, it's online, break it down frame by frame. You will see frames like this one right here that doesn't make sense. Look how skinny the legs are on this thing. It can't be a kid, can't be a human being. Look at how the arm, the right arm, drops down below the crotch, way past the crotch. Show me a kid that is proportioned that way at all. And there's many more frames I could show you on this. Maybe we'll do a show around it and really break it all the way down. But this here is likely, very likely. Everyone agrees that what you're seeing in the video is real. There is just a debate on what people think it is. Some people say it's a kid with underwear. We can go down that rabbit hole one of these nights if you guys want to. I've already done it. I have a lot of stuff that I've compiled on it, and we can definitely jump down that rabbit hole. But out of all the videos, this one is probably likely the one that is actually depicting something that is not from here. And I'll throw the video for you guys again because this is one that's being slept on. You got the alien interview out there, you got Skinny Bob, but this video, there is no kid that skinny. There is no kid that skinny at
Yeah,
all.
I don't know.
Pretty,
Not
pretty,
people.
pretty insane. And then once again, the uniform color from head to toe on whatever this is. There is no skin tone. There is no anything head to toe. Head literally fingertips to toe tips to the tip of the head. There's no skin tone. There is no variance in color in whatever this is. This is out of all three videos is most likely something that is depicting something that we don't understand. And
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I'm look at it. Look at it. And I'm gonna play it
I'll look.
again.
I'll see this video like every day on the internet, on their trail camera videos or
Look at that.
my
Look at that leg.
computer.
Look at that leg. Look at that hand sticking out of that leg. Look at
Yeah,
how those legs are right there
it's
in that
compelling.
frame.
This compelling video.
Look at that frame right there. Look how low the hand is naturally hangs down below the crotch of whatever this is. You can't do that as a kid. Your arms aren't long enough. There's no way in the world that works. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, break this video down, guys. If you have never done it, break it down frame by frame. And maybe that's what we'll do on the next late night calling show. We'll redo this video because I've scoured the internet from top to bottom, searching for any explanation for this video that made sense. I've seen so many quote unquote debunking videos on this and nothing. The only thing that they can come to is a kid with underwear, and it's just not there. You're looking at a video, that is not a kid with underwear, any way you slice it. So, with that being said, for now, this is where we'll leave it. We'll put a fork in it. And so we get ready for tomorrow's show on Spaced Out Radio. We'll have Josh Rutledge. We'll have a great time over there talking UFOs as Cosmic Joe busts out the drone, the self-controlled drone,
Yeah.
showing that there
Yeah.
are drones up there in the sky. Cosmic
Yeah.
Joe, you want to leave the crowd with anything here?
There's a lot of videos, trail camera videos depicting Bigfoots and whatever. I want to do a special shout out to Dave Scott for finally sending me this shirt. 14 months I've been waiting for this shirt. But there, I finally got it today. Finally got it today.
Dave Scott came through. So
Yeah,
appreciate you. Thanks for coming on stage.
that's not ugly swag either.
Yeah, we don't have ugly swag. We don't. I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on here, Cosmic Joe, hanging out with me tonight as we talk some Skinny Bob. I'm gonna get that other show together, and we'll be talking about Dobby again because
thanks everyone in the chat and all too.
all right, Cosmic Joe. Have a
Love
good
you.
rest of your night, man.
Me too.
Take care. Cosmic Joe Chronicles, guys, awesome guy. Once again, give a shout out to Cosmic Joe for coming out on stage, hanging out. Right here on the Late Night Calling Show with me, your host, Mr. Rob G, as we talk some Skinny Bob tonight. And, this is how the conversations are going to go, right? Because when we deal with the phenomena, what are we really talking about? Do we even know? And here's a closer image of the Dobby ET, just so you get an idea. Look how low that the hand is on that right arm. Look how skinny those legs are. It's not human, man. That is not human. But once again, I definitely want to thank everybody for coming through here tonight. You guys hanging out on the Late Night Calling Show. It has been a pleasure hosting you guys. Let me make sure we say what's up, or say goodbye rather. I know Lex Diaz was here, had to go. Appreciate you coming on in. Also, Stargazer, I see you out there. Moody Mongol, appreciate you coming in. Different part of the elephant. Hillbilly Herb, Woo Riders DG, appreciate you coming on in. Let's see, Bim Jim, thanks for showing up here tonight. Candace, hey Candace, thank you for coming on in here. Appreciate you showing up. Let's see. She says, if they are using telepathy, why would it have to bobble at all? Telepathy in my comings and goings doesn't typically just cut off. Any thoughts? That's even a better thing to think about. Yeah, with telepathy, they should have known that he was having an issue. You shouldn't have had to display the bobblehead thing there. Paul Damon saying you can see the door shadow. Yeah, you're seeing the door shadow. I agree. We'll talk about that. We'll do another show on it. I'll set one up for sure. Appreciate you coming through. The door shadow is doesn't mean anything, truthfully. And I'll tell you why on the next show. Make sure you show back up here. Definitely want to thank everybody for coming out. Once again, if you're lurking, I appreciate you showing up here. Once again, we do this all the time. We do this often. We will be doing this again. And I hope to see you back as well. Memberships available. Want to thank our members out there. You can become a social soldier today, right by clicking the link in the description. Members so far are T-Bone, the Beekeeper, D. Nunley, Maggie M10, Flat 6, Miss Captain Jones, Leanne Bridges, Polly Rodderman, Lil Camp 51, Fast Hemi, Deb from Sacramento, Race Fan with the Gold, Magneticus Attractus, Woo Riders DG, Area 51, Tomat Man, Crave Dog, Paramar, Joe Monk, Rockin' Rory, KAS, Wes Decker, and Joanne, Emperor Penguin, Deadfish Cheese Spread, Amanda's Crazy Life Channel, Mike Bothwell, Kitty Cattywack, Easy Bet. Thank you all for being executive producers, making sure that we can have this show, because subscription fees add up to do these live streams. They are not free, so we do appreciate you doing what you do for the channel. Also, we have a Discord set up, finally, the social Discord. You can check us out. I don't have the link yet in the chat. I'll put it in there after the video, and we'll have it in future videos. If you are on Discord, go link up with the rest of us. We're over there already right now. The Social Discord is the name of the channel. I'm sure you can search it that way. But we'd love to see you over there. Definitely. Also, the phone number. Make sure you don't forget this one. 856-843-3444. That's 856-THE-DIGG. If you're calling from outside the United States, that's 001-856-843-3444 or 001-856-THE-DIGG. You can call anytime, 24/7. The line is always open. Drop a message, drop a text, Let me know how you're doing. You can call and just say hi. Sometimes that is a nice thing to do. Once again, guys, we do this. We get together and do this for the positive progression in humanity. That's why we do it. We will continue to do so right here on the Social Dig, guys. Have a great rest of your night. We will talk very, very soon. Very soon. Take care. Welcome to the Social Shop, courtesy of the Social Dig. I am Mr. Rob G, and we are bringing you exclusive gear, and tonight's no different. We have Humanity t-shirts, the positive progression of humanity. Yes, you can go out into the world and proudly show everyone what humanity means to you. $32.99, and remember, if you're a social soldier, you get an additional 20% off the price. That's right, being a social soldier gets you an additional 20% off. And keep in mind, depending where you are in the world, shipping fees and taxes will be applied. Bringing you exclusive gear right here at the Social Shop on the Social Dig.